Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. This is not just another episode, but this is a kickoff to a month-long series, which will end in a blind taste test that I hopefully will not embarrass myself with.
Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
But the first of these is Oregon Spirit Straight American Wheat Whiskey, not wheat bourbon. So I've reached out to the distillery and requested an interview because I have some questions. First off is, why is it wheat whiskey, not wheat bourbon? Because it is aged in virgin American oak. But maybe it's not 51% corn. There's a lot of different variables that will make something not a bourbon, but just a whiskey. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you want to just experiment with the different flavors and have a different experience that maybe doesn't fit into the bourbon paradigm. So, so they got a great wheat whiskey. It's aged 4 years. So they say straight American wheat whiskey, which straight usually means at least 2 years. But this is twice as long as it needs to be for that. They also have a bourbon, and they have a bonded in bond bourbon that I have. They also have a rye. I don't have that currently, but those three will be part of the series. And then, like I said, ends after I do 3 whiskeys. I do a blind taste test, try and see if I can tell those 3 whiskeys apart. So
talk about the blind leading the blind.
Anyways, this was a Father's Day gift, by the way. So my little girl somehow got a hold of the credit cards and purchased whiskey for me. I'm not sure if you know why that's a little weird that my little girl was able to do that, but let me show you my little girl. That's my little girl. So it does worry me that she was able to get a hold of the credit cards. But hey, she got me whiskey, so you know, I'm just not going to question it until she starts buying stuff that I don't like. But anyways, I have a neighbor laughing about something seemingly random. I don't know. Actually, it would have been kind of entertaining if that actually got picked up, but it didn't. So, but anyways, I'm going to find out what this thing has to offer on the nose.
Andy, how's the nose?
So I'm sensing it's real mapley. On the nose, there's a little bit of maple in there. Just a little bit of spice, a little bit of nose tickling, but very subtle, very pleasant. Nothing too overpowering. So far, it's a positive experience. And now, I think I should bring in my good buddy, Rick Moranis, and playing the ever wonderful and inspiring Dark Helmet. Do your thing.
Ludicrous speed.
So it has a, it's weird. Sometimes I like to look at the websites and see what the distilleries claim and see if my experience matches that in any way, shape, or form. there are some discrepancies almost every time. One of them this time is apple pie. I don't sense any apple pie in the taste at all. They mentioned buttery toast. I slightly disagree with that. It does have a buttery feel to it, taste to it, but no toast, just the buttery part. And they say cinnamon. I say maybe a little bit of cinnamon, but also some red pepper.
These red pepper flakes really make all the difference.
Just kind of that it's that 90 proof bite. That's I kind of like the 85 to 90 proof whiskeys because they have a bite, but without it being too overpowering. I mean, you get the cask strength, and you almost with most distilleries, the cask strength, all you get is the bite, and it kind of overpowers everything else. Kind of like your pepper heads that just want something hotter and hotter and hotter, and they're like, oh, I can handle this much heat, and it becomes a pissing contest. But they forget about the flavor. It's sometimes you want a little less heat so you can let the flavor of the food out. Same thing with the whiskey. Sometimes you want a little bit less proof so that you can let the flavors of the whiskey come out. And that's what they've done here, is they've kept it 90 proof so that you can get that that touch of cinnamon, a little bit of red pepper, and butter on there, and good butter, like the high quality butter, the one that that aunt that lives in the nice neighborhood buys, sometimes. Yeah, that kind of butter.
Our wedding present from my devoted and very rich aunt.
So, anyways, yeah, it's got a good mouthfeel, very pleasant. Like I said, a little bit of bite, nice taste. There could be just a little bit more. I'd kind of like it if there was some apple pie in there. That'd be good. And the finish is it's pretty respectable. Not phenomenal. I've definitely had some finishes that were that lasted longer while still not lasted longer without being overpowering. This was kind of short. It had kind of a short finish, but it's still good. You can definitely tell that they did a good cut. I am wondering, because of the thick viscosity of it all, I have a feeling that this is non-chill filtered, because it does have the viscosity that you usually get when you do things non-chill filtered. So, yeah, trying to get an interview with the master distiller to ask him whether some of my suspicions are correct. So stay tuned next week for that episode to see if we get an interview. But until then, I will say that this is the Oregon Spirit Straight American Whiskey is a thumbs up. Definitely recommend. If you can get it.
My assistant, he recommended it.
Go for it. I think it's a good whiskey. Definitely one to try. And we will see you next week with their bourbon. And I got to look here real quick because I totally forgot. But yeah, it is a straight American bourbon whiskey. So it's basically the same thing as we have here, except this is it'll be just a little bit higher proof, and the other one is a bourbon. So whereas this is just a wheat whiskey. So anyways, so see you next week for another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. And remember, always sip, never slam. See you next week.